Hi everybody, good evening. Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Let other people join, guys. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts, please let me know. Any doubts about PSA or optional? Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Let other people join, guys. If you have any doubts, please let me know.
कोई कमेंट आया है वाई करवाना होगा वाई
Guys, if anybody is in the class, just comment a Y, please. I think there would be a time lag of around 5 seconds. Hi, Harleen. Thank you.
क्यों शांत
Hi, Dipankar. Hello, Amrita. Have you guys answer? I've not started writing answers. This is I guess the fourth class, and still I'm waiting for your answers. Can we do a small thing that whatever the topics we have discussed around 5 questions including today. Can you just watch the classes and then try to write it, Harleen? Okay, just try to rewrite it. Understand from where what is the key essential about the topic. Okay, Hanarag. Can we do a quick recap, guys? Who do not know me, who's joined the class for the first time, this class happens every day at 9:30 p.m. It's a free class on YouTube. You can read more about me on Unacademy. I teach us under UPSC CSE category, and you can read more about me. And we have a 2 p.m. class on Plus every day where we do an exhaustive answer writing session with one-to-one evaluation. Okay, the most important point is one-to-one evaluation, a continuous feedback. Okay, so if like this is a sample of a copy, you write a copy, we give the questions and we discuss in the live class. If you want to take the Plus subscription, you can use the referral code Anvit Agarwal. You'll get a 10% discount. Additional 10% discount could be used using your credits. Okay, so overall you can get 20% discount. Don't forget to use the referral code Anvit Agarwal. Okay, guys. I guess 20th October is the price hike. Let's get started. Okay. Before getting started, can we do a quick revision, guys? Let's start with the first question of structural differences, structural impediments. What are the structural impediments between India and China? Okay, just talking about the main key issues were a very quick recap. Okay, India China, what are the structural impediments? You understand what are the structural issues in any relation. That's a very specific thing, but what are the structural impediments? Amrita, Dipankar, Harleen. Can you comment very quickly, guys? India-China question we have already discussed in the first class. India-China relations, how to look at from different perspectives. We'll discuss that. What are the structural perspectives, structural challenges, structural impediments. So one could be starting with a realist perspective. You can also see from different perspective. You can what's the structural impediments. So realist would say power asymmetry, right? Then there is definitely a security dilemma. Then you can relate the security dilemma because a sense of mistrust, right? Why there is a more acute security dilemma based on a sense of mistrust. This mistrust could be related to second part. 1.1, 1.2, what would be social constructivist? How you perceive social constructivist. This approach, this is kind of a perception problem. How do you perceive? What are the factors that perceive? So we have middle kingdom complex, victim complex, right? We have seen that. You can say prisoners of past. This is a very important point. Okay, guys? Social constructive perspective. Then 1.3, what else can we put? Then border tensions are there, right? Border dispute won't be able to solve. Border dispute, and then you can also say Tibet issue, though it is Tibet or Dalai Lama, that's what it is. Okay. Any other issues that you feel might be in a structural issue? Then you can say P2P contacts in terms of, yes, that is one of the issues or structural impediments that because of mistrust, this perception is derived. Okay, social perception, community perception, and the lack of P2P or cultural engagement, right? This is again a very important impediment. This could include in the liberal perspective. Okay, guys, this is in the liberal perspective. And then in the liberal perspective, one is communication theory, other is, what is the other point? Trade deficit is also one of the sticking point or a structural deficit. Okay, but everything relates to the mistrust, okay? Sense of prisoners of past. India as a swing state, so all the policies, everything comes, if you overcome these, if you overcome this is the main criteria, okay? If you overcome mistrust, that would be the key. Always remember, overcoming the mistrust. If you are trusting your part, I mean, if there is a trust, then you can build better trade relations, then you have better connectivity, better security relations, right? Everything flowed from the trust factor, better P2P, and it's a reinforcing thing. P2P contacts, then technology transfer, right? Everything flows from this. So trust. So again, the solution would be a pragmatic approach. Always conclude with the pragmatic approach. I've told you a few keywords in that. What is a pragmatic approach? Not to view India-China relations as a T20 match. Or you can call it not to see as a zero-sum game, where one side wins and another side lose. Right? Pragmatic approach would be simultaneously simultaneous engagement and engagement and containment, right? This is a pragmatic approach. Always try to end with the pragmatic approach. Engagement and containment. Asymmetry of power we have considered Helene in the structural realist perspective. Okay, tension South China Sea. Yogi, that's primarily not in South Asia and other regions, but understand from what are the structural issues. There are divergences in the worldview, yes, definitely. Okay, but the core issue would be power asymmetry, divergence in worldview. Maritime relations, asymmetry, idealist. Also, yes. Idealist also you can write. We have discussed idealist. Good point, Anurag. Right, guys? We have discussed this. Idealist would be appeasement policy or Hindi Chini bhai bhai wala perspective. You can write that. Okay? So always remember, try to see from a different perspective. Social constructivist, realist, liberal, right? Post-constructivist, pragmatic approach, idealist approach. Try to use these keywords. Always remember, the more you use theories and concepts from part C or part 1 paper 2, okay, use this in paper 2 part 2, okay. Always remember, in IR if you use theories, your key concepts, that would give you better points. Instead of learning scholars, I will suggest, if you use, instead of scholars, try to use academician or theorist. right? That would be much more better marks. Like, what would be the new realist? What would new realists think about the situation? How would they perceive it? है ना? Kenneth Waltz, some, right, contemporary thinkers like Mershmer, okay? Getting my point, guys. Focus on the theory. I always told you these are the two most important points in paper 1, part 1, okay? Theory, approaches to international theory and key international concepts. Not provocation, but keep the powder dry. है ना? Simultaneously keep the powder dry. Right? And always try to give a positive outlook. है ना? Foreign policy is not tit for tat. है ना? Have a futuristic vision, have a vision, have a policy. है ना? Long term perspective. You should have a long term strategical perspective. Always try to say win-win situation. How can we cooperate? Cooperate where necessary and contain where required. Cooperate whenever possible. Okay, note down, keep noting down these kind of, these are kind of a language of a subject. Language and grammar, try to understand the language and grammar of IR. Okay, make a note of these. Cooperate wherever possible and contain where necessary. So have these and there's simultaneous engagement and containment. है ना? Not a T20 match where one side loses. It's a long-term test match. है ना? Kind of that. We'll keep coming with these kind of a catchy phrases. These are the catchy phrases or the keywords, not a zero-sum game. That's very common. Okay. Then we multiple things we will come across, right? Like neighbor is a natural enemy. है ना? But in an intercomplex dependent world, we don't see the relations like one side win, one side lose. So the language and grammar are very important, but you understand the basic idea. Okay, fair enough. Any other points, guys? Yeah, don't worry about, that's what I told you, Yogi. Don't focus on right now, don't focus on scholars, है ना? Focus on understanding. Focus on understanding the different perspectives. Application of these perspectives are very necessary. Okay, instead of scholars, focus on which theory you can understand the relations. If you are a feminist, how do you look about the relations? If you are a Marxist, how would you look in the relations? What perspective will you add to the relations? Okay, try to look from a different theoretical perspective, theoretical frameworks, theoretical lenses. How would you define the relationship? Or if you are a pragmatic, what would be your approach? What would be the solution? Okay. So scholars will add, okay, when we do a second, third revision, we'll add that. This is kind of, we are revising very early, but when we consolidate and when we revise at the third or fourth round, don't worry, we'll add that. We'll have a 1-page note for India China. That's your note with the scholars, with the perspectives. 1 or 2-page note for the last minute revision. Okay, there you will have it. Don't worry about it. So you have to just learn that. You don't, but if you have a perspective, then you can write. If you understand, right? So focus on understanding. Then you can write on your own. Okay, but if you are cramming, if you are rote learning, then you won't be able to reproduce. Because the questions would be, you would be required to think on your feet. And thinking on your feet would only come what you have understand. What you have actually learned, not memorized. Yeah, that's what, again, Anurag, right? So just make sure these kind of, when diplomacy ends, war begins, and we have to avoid war at every cost. Or the power flows through the barrel of a gun. Then again, a very realistic perspective or extreme realist perspective, okay? Power flows from the barrel. We'll keep on adding these kind of quotations or, some lines. Everywhere you can put that. You have a different collection of it. Don't worry about it, okay? That's fair enough. Can I move ahead? This is clear, guys. We have already revised it. I'm just keep on revising. Please write the answer, okay? We have discussed this structural impediments wala question. Please make sure you write this answer. I'm daily emphasizing, guys, without writing answers you won't, I mean, answer writing is a must, especially if you're preparing for 2020 mains. That is goes without saying. And you always remember your optional would be the first and foremost priority for the next 80 days. If you want to give the interview, your optional should at least be 285 plus, right? So you have to have command. Okay, without this you won't be going to interview, trust me. If you want to go to the next stage, this has to be 285 plus, and then you have to be very smart about it. Don't go into very deep, just develop the perspectives, analyze the situation. We'll try to put these perspectives in every answer. Okay guys, give me a why if you are able to understand. If you have any questions, please ask. If you are not able to understand these, I have already discussed in the first class, right? Can I expect all 5 questions would be written by everybody in the class? Right? These 5 questions by Monday, I'll get that. Everybody is committing. Yogi, Harleen, Dipankar, Anurag, this 290. This time topper get. Yeah, it's around 300. Hi Khagendra. Okay, make sure you have target a 300 plus. Don't worry. This is plus minus 15-20 marks you'll get there, here and there. Depends on the checking and the different parameters, plus minus 20. You'll be in that score. Okay? Please keep on rewriting. If you're not able to write, please take a page, and we do an exercise every time, right? You remember that? We do a mind map. For example, I have to do this, then we'll do a mind map. What is the first points you come into your mind? Okay, please make sure if at least you do a mind map of every relations. Yogi, I'll pose the questions. I'll pose the questions today, all the 5 questions, and I'll put a time, usually between 7 to 8 a.m. I'll start posting. Join this Telegram group, you'll get the questions, okay? Just search Anvit Agarwal 15. I'll post the questions in the group. Don't worry. Just watch the videos. You'll get the questions. Try to write those questions. Okay? See, this is very dynamic area. Nobody will get you covered in a very depth and answer writing in this perspective. Getting my point? Because it's very dynamic. Part A you can learn, you can cram from the notes, you can understand on yourself, right? But India-Nepal relations or India-China relations were different 2 months back or 1 month back. Understanding? Every time it is changing and the question would be in a different format. If you see the last year paper, it was very unpredictable, right? It's very unpredictable. Okay, we'll try to revise at least one topic every day. Okay guys, so we have done a kind of a revision on this topic because it's very, very important. India-China relation, you will definitely get it, right? And then we have done one question on East China, Act East Asia, and one on strategic differences with China, strategic relations with China, with Russia. Okay, Act East Asia, Act Far East Asia. So we have done 3 questions, and today we are going to take, third is obviously structural impediments, and the fourth one is China one, and the fourth one today we'll discuss Nepal relations in a broad framework. Okay. So let's get started, guys. Discuss the current developments in India-Nepal relations. How do you look at the growing strategic partnership between the Nepal and China from the perspective of Indian? How do you, okay, China factor again. Okay, let's discuss this, guys. Have you read the question? Can we discuss? Harleen, we'll discuss that MNC one. It's a different topic. From Monday, we'll be streamlining that. Okay. But first, please write the 5 answers we have discussed. We'll take step by step. Don't worry. I'll try to cover, but depends on your response, guys. Okay. If you have written 5 answers, I will definitely take the MNC one today. But we don't have the bandwidth. You're not revising. You're not rewriting. Right. You're not asking doubts in the group. And the group is open, right? Group is not closed anytime. Okay. Let's discuss this, guys. Current developments in India and Nepal relationship. Okay, what are the current developments, guys? Can I have the perspectives? What else? These are the three major perspectives. Okay, one is current development is Kali River or border dispute. What else, guys? Is there is a hand in of China? Okay, let's see the relation from realist. Maybe you can start with a one line of idealist, as somebody suggested, Anurag suggested. Idealist perspective, realist perspective, social constructivist, liberalist. Liberalist, especially economic interdependence, is very important. Communication theory is again very important, right? Open borders. I'm not asking about the status. I'm just about what are the developments. If I ask you, let's say, Yogi, you are an idealist. You understand the idealist philosophy or idealist perspective. If you have to understand the relation from an idealist, it's a kind of a liberal only, but idealist liberal kind of a thing. So how would you analyze this situation? What will you say if you are an idealist? Now, what would you talk about on the? How would you analyze? How would you analyze, India-Nepal relations? How do you analyze what are the problems, and then what solutions do we give? Got it? Again, realist border dispute, growing closeness with China, interference in constitution making. Yeah, that's point. But how do you look at the situation, Khagendra? As India-Nepal relations, how would you analyze that? They will say roti beti ka rishta, है ना, roti beti rishta, or what else they would talk about? Historical significances, है ना, or open borders. We are like, due to open borders, over dependence, and this suggest focus on cooperation. Okay, anything else? This is idealistic. Then, right, these are the basic ideas. 3-4 points from the idealist perspective. You don't have to write in detail because major would be realist only, and fifth would be pragmatist. How would you write from a pragmatic? Always the conclusion should be from a pragmatic point of view, right? Treaty of friendship, yes, good point. Another point would be a treaty of friendship. They'll focus on more to more building P2P connect, है ना? Focus this cooperation, institutionalization, focus on these aspects, है ना? Piece by pieces, functionalism, interlinkages. They'll talk about this, right? Kind of an idealistic perspective. India is too important. Yes, good. India is too important for Nepal. or they may talk about logic of geography. ठीक है, it's very clear. रोटी बेटी का रिश्ता, logic of geography. India is too important for Nepal, right? Open borders, historical, cultural linkages. Then Madesi factor, yes, yes. Idealistic, historical connection, country more than just a neighbor, yes, Kagedra. Now coming to the realist perspective, how would you interpret the relations of India-Nepal from a realist perspective? So first point would be, see, always a big power, I have told you, always a big power have a trouble with the neighbors, right? Small neighbors. That's very natural. Then second is they will talk about, see, balancing is very natural. Between India and China. Balancing is nothing but India have done this, right? India have done this, remember? We have discussed this as well. USA and USSR. What does it call it? Non-alignment movement, right? So balancing in any form. Balancing is to get the best from both sides. Whoever gets strong, you'll play the card, right? Declining of India's leverage. Harleen, yeah, we'll talk about that. But one is, you understand the balancing is very natural. This is the key term. Realists need to understand that. Okay? This is very natural for any country. If any country would try to balance and play one side to the other, against the other, always try to play one side against the other. To get maximum benefit, okay? Then realists would always see China as a comparative threat. Then question is asking about increasing, growing strategic partnership, right? This you can write. We have too many points in this. I hope we are not going into very details about the current situation. I mean, you know, in like from a GS2 perspective, you know, right? Getting my point, guys. We are trying to understand from a IR perspective. I'm hoping we are not covering GS2 part. So I'll just give an example about the GS2 part. So growing China's influence, what we can write. That's a what is, है ना? ये तो fact. This is fact. What is or factual knowledge. I'm not saying that factual or data should not be there. I'm just saying it's very small part of it. Okay. So analysis is the most important. What ought to be? Futuristic solution. What ought to be? What suggestions do you provide? Okay. What ought to be? Everybody knows this. Factual data. But analysis would always be different. What is your perspective? How do you think Indian foreign policy should react? This is what is the most important point, and that is what we are trying to discuss. So growing China's strategic relationship, what we can write in this? Infrastructure, tech companies, cultural exchange. Infrastructure can be seen part of OBOR. It's trying to do an OBOR. And then diplomatic and political visits. Increase diplomatic and political visits. You can use many things, right? There have been growing influence. Infrastructure is also the infrastructure. They are constructing dams and other things, etc., etc. Okay. I think technology companies, financial tech companies are there. Cultural exchanging in terms of students, in terms of travel is also increasing. First time, I guess, in the last 25 years, Chinese president visit. Part of polyestering, yeah. More FDI investment, debt trap. Yeah, you got this, right? So you understand the factual data point? We can write this. We are not discussing the GS2 or a factual part. We are trying to understand from an IR perspective. Any doubts till now, guys? Make sense? Yogi, differentiate between GS2 is GS2 you just write a factual thing, okay? You don't use the, I tell you, between GS2 you don't use scholars, you don't use theory, you don't use theory or concepts, you don't use scholars, okay? Here in GS2 maps become more important. You can draw maps, but in IR you don't need much of a map, okay? Those same things but without using the theory, concept, scholars, and language and grammar, okay? There is a language and grammar of a subject which you don't try to use that. It's very simple. Try to write it in simple and I'll give an example. If I have to write the same answer, for example this one, right? We have seen Yogi, you are clear with the China answer? Yogi, I think China answer we have discussed from different perspectives. How India-China relations, if you have to write in a GS2 perspective, always take a framework like geostrategic, then write these are the geostrategic perspectives, okay, then geoeconomic, okay, bilateral, regional, cultural, bilateral, regional, okay. There is a framework in GS2 and the framework keeps on differentiating from IR perspective, right? Bilateral, geoeconomic, then cultural diplomacy, then first, second, third, fourth, military partnership, military relationship, then defense and security, or you can include defense in that, but security perspective could be included. One important point could be geopolitical. Okay, like this. This is a broader framework for most of the relations, but in IR you use more of the theories. More focus on strategy. Okay, Yogi, makes sense? You understand? When you start writing, you'll eventually see. You do as much as study theory until and you apply. You can do as much you study, you learn, you memorize, you do classes, attend classes, read theory, doesn't matter. Until unless you do practice. Practice is the most important point. So practice is answer writing. Until unless you do this, this is zero. It's very less value. But you write the same topic at least 5 times. Then you understand the importance of practice and revising. Okay. This is common to both to IR and both to as well as to GS. Okay. Yogi, Harleen, Khagendra, Anurag, you're there in the class. Anurag, Dipankar. So I was just telling where were we at? India-Nepal relations. Understand with the what idealist perspective is clear, right? We were talking about the realist perspective. We'll come back to realist because realist is very closely linked to pragmatic approach. Okay. Okay. So understand that India and Nepal would always try to balance, and it's not that the first time they're trying to balance. Okay, historically also they have been balancing. Nepal have been balancing from the very beginning. Before that, it was balancing China, and the company. Okay, you see the Anglo-Nepalese War, Anglo-Nepal War, Treaty of Segauli, right? 1816 Treaty of Segauli was there. So it keeps on tilting towards China in the first phase when the company was there. Okay. Second, when the Raj came, when it after 1858 it became British, right? When British crown take over, then Nepal began to slide over this side because it was winning. It was always try to go to the winning side. Okay, the more there is a winning side, it will come towards it. Okay, that's why they signed the 1950 treaty. They become a protectorate state. Okay. Yes, sir. Please start one question of paper one. Okay, Yogi, you give me 1 week. You write on a regular basis, guys. We will make this class regular, or we'll take a weekend extra class. If you want, we'll take weekend extra class. But I need a commitment from your side. At least write 10 answers in a week. Then we can talk about it. Okay? Minimum write 10 answers per week in 5 days. Then come to me. Fair enough, Yogi? I'll put in extra effort if you are willing to take 2 steps. Then only I'm willing to take 3 steps. Got it? Don't ask. Just perform and then ask, right? Systematic. Halin will come. It comes naturally. Whenever you are, it's an art, okay? You can't learn an art in a day or two or in a week. Art needs time. So art or skill of answer writing will take time. At least 1 month. Okay? Fair enough? So it has always been done. Remember that. Nepal has always balanced between either between China and company, between China and British Raj, right? As now China is getting more powerful, it will tilt towards China. Okay. The more powerful, the more greater asymmetry it is, more tendency to incline towards China would increase. Okay. Now, very important perspective is social constructivist. What are the perception problem? We have seen them in China, right? Both with the China. Now, can you apply something with Nepal? What is the perception problem in Nepal? Yes, political interference. That's Big Brother attitude. Okay, meddling with internal affairs. Good. What else? Trust deficit? Yes, yes. Then what is the basic idea? Then what would be the solution, guys? See, you have to understand it's the India's perception, sorry, India's attitude that have been the problem. Like you can't take it taken for granted. So from special relations, it has to be transformed to sovereign equality, right? Equal treatment, from big brother to equality, from India's first approach, that India's interest should not be first, right? I mean, always it would be first from India's perspective, but Nepal should feel like there is Nepal first policy as well. Yes, stop meddling in internal affairs, stop meddling, right? And maintain state to state relationship. Okay, don't meddling with domestic affairs. Security is, yeah, over dependence of security, that you can mention, right? But how do you tackle with that? How do you improve that deficit? How do you trust deficit? Okay. Then again, the bureaucratic hurdles in India. You need to understand from India's. This is a negative with India. Don't say that we are not going to call the, call the cattle black. Okay. Insurgency is okay, but focus insurgency में आप क्या लिखोगे? Harleen, what will you write in the set of insurgency? India should, yeah, Yogi, that's right? So how do you build trust deficit? That's what very important, okay? So there are many perspectives. Then again, realist perspectives say that it is India. India must question itself. Why? India must question or self-introspect. Okay, why despite geography and cultural historical linkages, India has to compete with China. Okay, despite geography, cultural and historical linkages, everything is in favor of India. Why, despite that, the border infrastructure is too bad? Why India has not delivered on its previous promises? Why there is a delivery deficit? Why they just walk the walk and they don't walk the talk? Got it, guys? Why they just walk the walk? You have to do a talk. You have to deliver. Why the border infrastructure is in mess? Why the border disputes have not been settled for the last 25 years? Why the border? Is it very difficult? It's very complex? No, it's a very easy. A border solution can be found out, right? Why the border solution have not been found out? So this India also need to learn from its past mistakes. Okay? Guys, you are able to understand, right, what we are discussing? Everybody is able to understand. I mean, is it too difficult? Is it going too fast? Is it something that you were not able to understand, not able to think of your own? Is it like that, guys? Again, Harleen, you are thinking more from a GS2 perspective. What I feel. Okay, just try to understand from a international relations perspective. Okay, why there is a trust deficit? Why how can we build a trust deficit? Okay, then you try to give the pragmatic approach. pragmatic approach. You cannot stop China, okay? Neither can you stop its money, neither can you stop its muscle power. So what you have to do is build on your own advantages. Okay, why I'm saying this, that taken for granted, there is a knee-jerk reaction. There is not a coherent policy. And a very knee-jerk reaction in policies. In the previous, now you can talk about many things, right? We are not discussing the factual part of it. We are trying to understand the logical frameworks in which we can study the Indian-Nepal relations, right? You can discuss many points in this, infra and GS2, India-Nepal relations. You can talk about the constitution, you can talk about border issues like we have discussed, right? But that's a peripheral issue. What are the core issues? Okay, that is not, you need to understand what are the core issues, why the issues have been highlighted now in the last decade, why the relations have been becoming so negative. I'm not sure. Hi Piyush. Piyush, you're not able to understand in the class what I'm trying to tell. We'll cover the part C as well. Don't worry. We'll try to cover part C. If you want, we'll take a class on part C. Okay, guys? But please try to write after the class. Please make sure if you write, if you show, write 5 answers. We have discussed all of them. You have to understand. Write, even if you write very bad, don't worry about it. So effort is what is count, okay? Effort is that counts. Okay? You do this, we'll try to take some part of part C. Don't worry. I'll tell you what is social constructivist in detail, how to understand realism, what is realism, what are the key terms, what are the basic understanding of realism, how liberalism should be dealt with, okay? At least approaches we will discuss. Okay, but please start writing answers, please posting your answers, please start working towards putting efforts. You just put 20%, I'll put 50%, don't worry about it. Guys, build on your own geoeconomic advantages. What are the geoeconomic advantages? Linkages, right? Deliver on pending infrastructure. Have a coherent policy, long-term effect, deliver of pending infrastructure, develop border infrastructure, institutionalization. This is a part under liberalism, right? Liberalism, approaches of liberalism, multiple parts. One is institutionalism, develop institutional mechanism for resolving border dispute. Okay, border infrastructure, integrated check posts, this should be completed in a phased manner. Coherent policy, long-term vision. Okay, guys, delivering on infrastructure projects and then building on your own access to ports. Let the border become bridges. Like that you can write. Don't worry about it. Eventually you'll get. See, we can talk. I can write an essay on this. On only India, Nepal. Just you try to understand the framework. What are the basic challenges? Why India have not done it? What India can do right now from a different perspective. Can we say that don't, from a post-colonial perspective, can we say that? Post-colonial, don't look from a Chinese perspective. है ना, मतलब don't look to Nepal from a Chinese prism. Okay, why we can't create a win-win situation? We have discussed this as well, right? Why the infrastructure developed by Nepal, China? Let's say it built a dam. Now the rivers are it's generating electricity, right? Why India can't purchase the electricity? Become a market. This is Nepal, right? India is a market to purchase electricity, which will be more sustainable, guys. Market is also equally important. So try to understand a win-win situations where you can create a win-win situations, not you win, I lose, or I win, you lose situation. Yeah, no, Harleen, you are going towards GS2 part, right? Yes, India economy is growing. How do we do sabka saath sabka vikas? Right? Instead of this, you can write Gujarat doctrine. Focus on Gujarat doctrine. Why don't you use the key terms like neighborhood first policy? Get it? This is a framework you should work upon. Not sabka saath sabka vikas. It's okay if you write that. I'm not saying it is wrong. But more appropriate, the language and grammar of the subject of international relation would be these theories, these policies. Okay? Guys, make sense? Yes, no, maybe. Any doubt, guys? This is very generic points. Very pragmatic approach. How should India deal with China in South Asia? Right? Why don't you have a economic departition? Why BBN is not done? Right? Why BBS is pending? Why SAFTA is pending? Why regionalism have not? Why regionalism have not? So you have to question yourself as well, right? Understanding my point. You have to understand the question part. Is there India? There is a problem with India as well. Just don't write China, China, China. We have to fight China. We have to learn from China. You can't stop China. You understand that? Neither it's money, neither it's muscle power. But you have to build on your own geo advantages, geo-economic advantages. What the lessons you can learn from China and lessons from past mistakes and from China and India's own mistakes. Okay, guys? Make sense? Harleen, you start writing, then we'll see. Don't worry. Nepal first, yeah, that's from a Nepal first and sovereign equality. These are the key terms from C. Rajamohan articles only, right? So keep reading and try to write. When you write, then is the application part. Okay, don't miss on the application part. Otherwise, if you're not applying your knowledge, it's not wisdom. You're not able to score good. So focus should be on scoring good marks. That's it. Guys, make sure you join the Telegram group. Any doubts? I hope थोड़ा सा clear हुआ होगा. It should be comparatively clear how to write this answer. Any doubt in this? Guys, can we write the 5 answers? Can we write this answer? Russia 1, strategic Russia, Far East, and strategic impediments with China. Guys, any doubts? काफी points clear हुए हैं overall. Yeah, Harleen, just eventually you'll get to you start writing answer 1. Day 1 you don't write the best answer, but day 100 you will definitely write a good answer. Okay? Day 7 you see incremental progress. No issues, Yogi. You write answer. I'll check your answers in the live class itself. But you have to be very consistent. Okay, see you on Monday same time, 9:30 p.m. Please write answers, have your doubts cleared. We can have a doubt clearing session itself. If you ask few doubts, I'll have try to answer them. Right, Nepal questions from different perspectives. Okay, fair enough. We'll see you. Please note down the Telegram group, or you can message me on Unacademy itself. There is an app. On Unacademy app, you can message me. Okay, guys. Take care. Be safe. We'll see you on Monday, 9:30 p.m.